So, tell me something terrible. So, it's November.
It is.
Happy November.
Happy
I wasn't saying it to you.
Day of the Dead.
Is today the, what's that called?
Samhain.
No, those.
I can't.
Muertes, something like that?
Dia las de Muertes.
I don't know.
I don't know. I took 1 year of Spanish.
I took 0.
You took French.
I did. Super helpful.
Yeah.
In my day-to-day life.
And I would rather not be like the asshole
I thought you would just know how to
slaughters.
say it. No, I thought you would know it.
I hear it constantly. I can hear it properly in my head, but I can't make my mouth make the right sounds. And I'd rather not be the asshole that like slaughters
That
the holy
butchers it.
holiday. Yeah, so it's Day of the Dead.
That's fine. Is that what this is about?
No.
Oh.
I mean, there's some death.
And it happened on a day.
It did.
But it's not directly.
No.
You're not that themed?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope. We're bringing it back to the good old state of Michigan.
Oh, good. Mitten murder?
Yep. Mitten murder.
For those... Wasn't it Mitten Murderinos or something?
Yeah, Mitten Murderinos. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. So, before we get started, hi, I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Scott.
And you're listening to Tell Me Something Terrible.
Yeah, you are. You got very game showy there.
I did. I felt like I had to step it up a little bit.
You're the next contestant on Tell Me Something Terrible.
Tell me. Let's go over some childhood trauma.
You're going therapist voice?
Game show therapy? It'd be fun.
No. It's like the dating show, but you can like meet people based upon their past trauma. That
Yeah, trauma
terrible.
bonding. It's healthy.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Hard no, bub. Anywho, hope everyone had a good Halloween.
I hope so.
We did.
Yep. Child has a cough now because it was a little bit chilly, and she may or may not have had a coat because we were parents of the year.
She didn't want a coat. It was going to ruin her costume.
Yeah. Well, she had layers and gloves and an extra pair of socks.
Pikachu don't wear a coat.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
So what are we doing in Michigan?
We're going to cover another Michigan serial killer.
Great.
Yep. Ready to get started?
Sure.
Who knew we had so many serial killers?
Every state probably does.
Oh, yes.
Sad but true.
Yes. So I think this is only the second serial killer. The other one was the co-ed killer.
Okay.
I don't think I've done any other serial killers from Michigan. Ted Bundy has a little bit of a past here. He did he go to U of M? I think he went to U of M for a little while.
H.H. Holmes went to U.H.
100%.
I don't know about Ted Bundy.
I'm pretty sure. Or maybe he was held in one of the prisons.
While he was selling shoes?
No, that was Al Bundy.
Oh,
Ted
Al Bundy.
Bundy's
Okay.
Ted Bundy's cousin.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Looked a little alike.
Ed Kemper?
The other shoe guy that we couldn't remember the name of for the life of us.
I figured it out at the next day at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was really depressing, and I was really mad at myself.
Yeah.
So for all of y'all who are shouting at your cars while you're
Slamming
driving,
your fist on the steering
it's
wheel.
Ed Kemper. So yeah, let's get to our serial killer. So in the early,
let's not say ours like we're proud of him and
no, we absolutely are not.
our topic. This dickbag serial killer.
Yes.
Is that his name? Wouldn't that be something?
Dickbag?
Yeah.
No, it's not even Richard. I'm sorry. It's Elias.
Elias?
Yes, I also didn't look up how to pronounce his last name because who gives a shit?
Okay.
So, in the early morning hours, August 2nd, 2010, 49-year-old Arnold...
That's recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
49-year-old Arnold Miner was walking home down Saginaw Street in Flint, Michigan. A large muscular man in a green and gold blazer pulled up alongside Arnold, asking him for directions. As Arnold came closer to the car, he was quickly and violently stabbed in the abdomen. Detective Randy Kimes heard over his radio that there was another stabbing only a few days after the last stabbing he had just been called to. Our printer is haunted. Anyway.
It made us both look, that's for sure.
So Detective Randy Kimes had heard over the radio that there was another stabbing only a few days after the last stabbing that he'd been called to investigate.
Okay.
So working on a hunch, Kimes headed the direction toward the newest stabbing. So as soon as he arrived on scene, he noticed eerie similarities. Someone walking down the roadway late at night or early morning. They were assaulted, stabbed several times, and they tried to run away. Neither of the victims had been robbed, which Detective Kimes says that raises your suspicions right away.
Yeah. This is the first time we've done one of these where I'm like, not the first time, but like one of the few times like, I think I've heard of this one. Like, I feel like it's been covered by like a podcast I've listened to.
None of them that I've listened to.
Or at least it sets up in a similar manner, which is probably pretty, like, not that far off a beaten path.
Yes. Well, one of my clients suggested them. She was like, oh my gosh, did you hear about the serial killer in Flint? And I was like, what? And then I looked up and I was like, oh my gosh, this happened very recently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like 2010, usually there's not a lot of serial killers by then because it's a lot harder to get away with it.
Yeah, I was in college.
Yeah. You were
just out of college.
Just graduating college, yeah. 2010? Were we together then?
Barely. Like, yeah, for early.
Early 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what happened while we were first getting together.
Right?
So at nearly 2:30 in the morning, the officer on scene, Todd Pillsbury.
Todd Pillsbury?
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo!
Yes. It's spelled exactly like that, too.
Of course it is.
Yeah. So Todd Pillsbury was standing over a barely breathing Arnold, asking him if he had any idea.
I just imagine his gut hanging out with like a belly button, like the doughboy. It's terrible.
Arnold or Todd?
Todd.
Okay.
Not the dead guy.
He's not dead yet.
Okay.
Yep. He's alive just long enough where Todd asks him if he had any idea who did this to him. Arnold said that he did not know, only saying that the man was white, and then he died in a pool of his own drying blood in the streets of Flint.
Okay. So super tragic.
Mm-hmm. So later that same day, a man named Elias Abulazam. What do you think? Right there.
Abulazam.
Yep, Abulazam was taking a trip down to Leesburg, Virginia to visit his family. While there, coincidentally, 3 more men were accosted. A teenager named Anthony Cage while out for a run on August 3rd, which I put 3TH instead of 3RD.
What? Oh.
August 3rd. So he was going for a run on August 3rd. He was stabbed in the back without a word.
It's right after the 3rd of July.
Mm-hmm. And then a 67-year-old man, while he was sitting at his stoop late at night, was also stabbed. And then a third man,
stoop?
his stoop, you know. You never watched Hey Arnold because you didn't have cable.
I didn't.
Stoop kid never leaves his stoop. It's a big episode. This guy like had too much anxiety to leave his like steps. They're literally like 3 or 4 steps, like tiny little porches that lead out onto sidewalks.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't know what a stoop was. Now I feel stupid. Sorry.
That was definitely worth apologizing for.
Yes.
That was bad. So, unfortunately, the 67-year-old man was also stabbed late at night. And then a third, which is a 19-year-old man who had stopped at a grocery store parking lot to help a tall, muscular man driving a gold SUV with a barbell piercing at the top of his ears. He...
Pretty popular in the 2000s still.
Oh, yes. Still kind of popular.
You had one at one point, right?
No, I never had the industrial.
You had the curly one.
Yeah. Yep. So he was hit over the head with a hammer, and that occurred on August 6th. But this time, the crime was caught on a security camera capturing the assailant and his vehicle.
His gold SUV.
Yep. And then one last stabbing took place in Toledo, Ohio on August 7th. Luckily, none of these victims died. They were just,
wounded.
Yes. This summer of terror started on May 27th, 2010, when David Motley, a 31-year-old black man, was found dead at 6 a.m. in Flint, Michigan. And then another man found dead on June 21st, and another man was attacked just before 6 a.m. on June 26th.
So we're like 10 people already.
These other ones that I mentioned were later on in the game. So on the 20th...
But collectively.
Oh, yes. There's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no. I used the word and I didn't finish that sentence.
And next paragraph.
Anyway.
Must have been a lie.
Must have been a lie. So there were 10 more stabbings that took place before the fatal stabbing of Arnold Miner. 2 of these stabbings were also deadly. So over the course of the summer in 2010, there were 5 fatal stabbings with at least 9 assaults that took place, with all small-framed black men being the primary victims. The other stabbings, just so you know, that you can get like a real clear idea on how much this guy was just berserking. They took place on July 12th, July 23rd, July 26th, July 27th, July 29th, 2 on July 30th, one of 2.
So it's like going up exponentially. Like 10 days, 3 days, every day, twice a day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there were 2 separate victims on the 30th, one of which died. His name was Frank Kelly Brew, which was the case that Detective Kime was covering. And here's where I left out the and. There was another one on...
Okay.
No, I knew... that's where the and is.
Yeah.
There was one that happened on August 1st, and then there was another one that happened on August 2nd, and that's the one with Arnold Miner.
Okay.
And then you go into the ones that happened out of the state.
Yep.
Days after the stabbing death of Arnold Miner, Flint police started connecting the dots, noticing patterns between the stabbing deaths and assault reports. The detectives started interviewing survivors, compiling a composite sketch and vehicle descriptions, creating a task force, and setting up a tip line.
All right.
Finally, a break in the case arrived in the form of an anonymous tip number 314.
Wait, 314 tips on one case?
There was more than that. That was just the one that was like the tipping point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they have all these people, and some of these stabbings, there were other witnesses to them as well. And like some people managed to make it to the hospital before they died. One man was found.
It's not like Flint's all spread out. You're probably going to have witnesses.
Yeah.
Like if you stab a guy in the streets and he starts screaming, people are going to look out their window.
They do happen between like on major road fairs, so they're a little less population dense,
not
probably
like
more businesses.
At the bottom of an apartment building.
Arnold was actually stabbed up, they think, less than a mile from his house. I don't know if it was an apartment, but yeah, it was a mile from his house. And
was it his Hey Arnold stoop?
Yes,
okay.
It was Stoop Kid. I think it was David. David was the first victim. He actually was found in somebody's ditch. They found him the next morning.
Oh, very Black Dahlia-esque.
Yeah. Well, he had crawled to it.
Wasn't she found in a ditch?
She was found on the side of a sidewalk. Yeah, all split open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I lost my spot. Blah, blah, blah. They did the lineup. Oh, tip 314. Yep. Yeah. So there was an anonymous tip 314. This tip came from a woman that recognized the composite sketch, and his coworkers took note of the green and gold SUV. So they're getting all these tips in.
Mm-hmm. I imagine it has like giant rims on it. Like I feel like if you have a gold SUV.
It's a Blazer too.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. I didn't look it up. So the tips started coming in, and by August 11th, the task force had 20 detectives out searching for the man that fit their description that just happens to be the aforementioned Elias Abulazam. Elias. So then they received a tip that sent them on a goose chase from Michigan to Georgia just in time to stop Elias from boarding a plane that would take him to Tel Aviv, Israel, which is his home country.
Oh, and he would have probably never came back. And
Absolutely
just
not.
Stabbing people over there.
Yes. So he was placed under arrest at 10 p.m. on August 11th.
His carry-on is just a bag full of knives. You're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
No questions asked.
Nope. And one bloody hammer.
That he plans on throwing out of the emergency hatch on the way, like over the ocean, just open the door and throw all the evidence out.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. You'd never find it.
No.
So he was placed...
Just put a bag and baggage claim with nothing on it and never pick it up.
Oh, that's a good idea, too.
Except all the cameras. You know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there is CCTV everywhere.
Fingerprints, yeah.
You'd be super sus walking through. Like,
just la-di-da-di-da, set it down. La-di-da-di-da.
With nitrile gloves on, like, that guy's weird.
Nowadays, you'd be fine.
It would be, actually, nowadays.
You can have your mask on.
Yeah,
Yep.
No one would bat an eye. They'd be like, of course that weirdo's wearing gloves. Idiot. Doesn't know how cross-contamination works.
They're fresh. Fresh gloves.
Oh, yeah? Are they going to change it every time they touch something?
Mm-hmm. He's only going to drop his bag off and bounce.
You really think so?
This guy.
This guy? For sure.
Hypothetically.
Everybody else? No.
I'm also mid-cheeses, so we're going to have to fill the void here.
Oh, no, I'm about to take a sip of my wine.
That was bad timing on your part.
We'll fill each other's voids. I hate you so much.
You just get glass clinking in the background. You don't have ice this time, do you?
It melted.
Oh.
Because the wine is too warm. Don't be like, you can't put ice in your wine. It's like a rosé. It's supposed to be slightly chilled. And I didn't have time.
Ice your wine. YOLO.
Exactly. Who gives a shit? So he was placed under arrest on August 11th at 10 p.m. So his uncle Tony had purchased the tickets for Elias.
It's nice of him.
After learning that he was involved with the stabbings. So
he's not. It wasn't like, hey, my debit card expired. Can you buy me some tickets? It was like, hey,
no,
I just stabbed a bunch of people. I need to get out of here.
And he dropped $3,000 on his one-way ticket to Tel Aviv.
Nice.
Yeah. It was back in 2010. Like, you know, airline prices were a little inflated then.
Yeah.
Yeah, less than a decade out from 9/11 and all.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it costs to fly to Israel now.
Probably pretty cheap. All the flights are cheap now.
Are they?
Yeah,
that
because
cheap? Anyway, keep going.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't care.
So I had tons of clients who were like, "We're going to Vegas because it's $100 round trip. Bye." I'm like, "Okay, if you want to risk the plague." So his Uncle Tony purchased the tickets for Elias after learning he was involved with the stabbings, so that Tony wouldn't get stuck with mounting legal bills because he was the only family in Michigan. Because he knew that Elias would inevitably rack up, all those court costs after being tried. So Elias was extradited from Georgia back to Michigan, where Uncle Tony began cooperating with the police. Elias, after moving to the U.S., working in Virginia as a mental health technician at a psychiatric hospital, he wound up getting 2 divorces, and he wound up making his way to Michigan. And this is where he got a job as a clerk at a party store and rented the house that his uncle owned that happened to be right next door.
Okay.
Yep. So this is when Elias started on his murder spree in May of 2010.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it unprovoked or is there some like...
Unprovoked.
Okay.
They literally don't know a motive.
Cool.
Still.
Just snapped a little.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So Tony admitted to helping hide Elias's green...
I mean, he worked in retail, so...
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
It's a matter of time.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been divorced twice, fell from a decent job, now he's working in retail. Yeah.
$10 an hour.
Is that in the thing?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes, no, that's not a number I pulled out of my ass. Even though in 2010 I was...
That's not terrible.
Yeah, 2010 is not bad. I was making $10.25 an hour in 2012, and I was the highest paid assistant store manager.
Right. But
I love retail.
But his uncle owned the place, so maybe he was a little upset about that.
Yeah. No, he owned the house, not the place he got the job at.
Oh.
No, he worked it up like a liquor store, like a Vicks type situation.
I was confused about the dynamics there.
No, he just rented the house.
Okay.
So, Tony also admitted to helping hide Elias's green and gold SUV next to an outbuilding in his driveway. Both of them wound up speeding out of town. Witnesses watched this. People like the two just peeling out in
green
separate
gold
cars.
SUV?
Nope, they hid the green SUV in the driveway next to an
under
outbuilding.
a tarp.
Yeah. And so neighborhood witnesses saw them both drive in separate vehicles, speeding out of the neighborhood, and they wound up meeting up at the Detroit Metro Airport, which is where Elias was going to flee.
Okay.
To Tel Aviv.
You think that there's probably cops there?
No, they didn't know who this was yet.
Oh.
Like they knew who he was. They didn't know where he was. So they were out. They had 20 different detectives out scouring the Flint area trying to find him that night. And then they got a tip letting them know that he's jumped on an airplane, and then they went through records. She's chasing after him in her dreams. She's like, I'm getting him.
Yeah, her dog's like seizing almost. She's running so hard in her dream.
That one paw just going.
Right.
Get him. So then they got the tips that they're going to the airport. She's so distracting. No, both paws are going. Oh no.
She's got it. Will you keep reading your story, lady?
I'm so distracted.
This is not a visual podcast.
No, it is not. So, for Elias's MO, he would cruise Flint and the surrounding area in the middle of the night and the wee hours, as multiple articles liked to refer to it as, looking for victims.
Is there a definition for wee hours at like 2 to 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the wee hours. A lot of people actually seem to have gotten stabbed if you look at the dates, like the times between like 3 and 6 a.m.
Okay, so it's after bars close and before the sun comes up.
Well, he worked second shift at his party store, making $10 an hour, which is probably considerably less than like a psych tech, I would imagine.
Probably.
Yeah.
Michigan cost of living's pretty low.
Yes.
Yeah.
It actually really is compared to other states. Like when you watch those like flipping shows and they're like $550,000 for a starter home, 2-bedroom, half bath. You're like, whoa, where's the shower?
Yeah.
And you still want $500,000? Okay. And that's where my brain went.
Instantly, yes.
So,
I'm a cupcake designer and I have a $4 million budget.
how much crack is in your cupcakes?
Right, yeah.
So he would peruse Flint in the wee hours looking for victims.
Just cruising in the gold SUV.
So his type were thinner framed.
This is what his Tinder profile said?
Yes. He prefers thinner framed black men. All but 2 victims were black. One was described as a dark-skinned Hispanic, which is like a little cringy way, but it was, 2010. And then there's also only one white man that was a victim.
Okay.
So under the guise of either car trouble or needing directions, he would lure all of his kind-hearted Midwesterner victims to his SUV, where he would stab them, either in the gut or in the back, leaving them to die alone in the dark in the dirty streets. So one survivor named Etwan Wilson said, quote, "I thought about it walking the street Thursday night. I think about it when it's dark outside. I think about it every time I see a Jimmy." An SUV.
Uh-huh.
Yep. I'm in a lot of pain still, my back and my chest. So he was a surviving...
Oh, yeah, and he's still just the lingering effects.
Yes.
Physically and mentally.
Yes, he's got some bad PTSD. So Elias, proving that he was definitely a flight risk since he'd already tried to escape before he was even taken into custody.
Twice.
Yes. Once he was extradited back to Michigan, he had an extended jail time, no bail. They were like, no. While in jail, he got into physical altercations with a guard. So afterwards, Elias showed up to one of his hearings with a black eye. Some other prisoner tried to poison his food, so Elias was separated from the general population, and he was put in solitary confinement.
Seems like warm reception. Yeah.
Yeah, they were really like, this guy,
Yeah.
he means a lot.
stabbed 14 innocent dudes. Let's embrace him.
Yeah, yes.
Give him a real warm prison welcome.
I'm not going to lie. There's probably some Nazis that would be fans of him.
Maybe.
I'm sure you could find somebody.
He probably found, his clique.
Yes. So he's thrown in solitary confinement, mostly for his own protection, because his crimes were so violent, inmates wanted, their own prison justice. Yeah. Elias was also becoming increasingly, and rightfully so, to be on the side of a murderer, just this once, paranoid that the sheriff's department was trying to poison him.
Okay.
Since he'd already, almost been poisoned once before. So prosecutors began building their case, and there were mounds of evidence. Surveillance footage from a nearby...
A bunch of alive stabbed people.
Yes.
Good start.
Yes, very distinctly.
Who, saw him. Yeah.
Yes, and his very distinct, since it was half green and half gold SUV.
Yeah.
This man was, I think, 6'5".
Holy shit.
He had 280 pounds of pure muscle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not who I had in mind.
Absolutely not.
So he's a monster.
Yes, he stands out.
When you said he went after thin guys, I was like, oh, probably so there's no worry of a physical altercation.
Absolutely.
He could have gone after a freaking polar bear and been fine.
He's a huge pussy because he's like, oh, I'm a monster, but I'm still going to go after
stab these thin guys.
Yeah. So the prosecutors began building their case. There were mounds of evidence. Surveillance footage from a nearby convenience store wound up placing Elias's SUV in the area right around where Arnold Minor was found stabbed at. Arnold's blood, verified by DNA, was found on Elias's size 18 shoes lace.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Those are skis that you can tie. That's good.
It was also found on the steering wheel of his Blazer and on his clothes that were inside of the luggage that he had packed, which he obviously intended to throw out of the hatch as well with all of his knives.
Yeah, yes.
And the one hammer.
Yeah, no one would have seen that coming.
No. So the prosecutors called 50 witnesses to the stand to testify against Elias. Yep.
Yeah, that's the when you get jury duty. You're like, you're gonna be here for 3 weeks.
No, it was really short.
50 witnesses.
It was 8 days.
That's still pretty long.
Yeah.
Like that's
Sometimes
2 weeks.
Yeah, sometimes they can drag out that long. Oh, and the other stabbings and murders that he was being charged with and the surviving victims were all allowed as evidence in his murder trial of Arnold Miner. A lot of the times they try to separate that stuff, but the judge was like, oh, no, yeah, it's totally fine. You can allow all of this.
Let's just get it over with. Bring them all in.
Yep. So this was only one charge. It was the trial that kicked it off. So this was also only the beginning. In total, Elias was up for 5 open murder charges, 9 attempted murders in Michigan, and 1 assault charge in Ohio, which was the man that oh no, it wasn't the man that was hit with the hammer. He was like when he was coming back up through from Virginia is when he stopped in Ohio and assaulted.
Okay.
So he was getting charged in Ohio as well. And so the defense knew that they didn't stand a snowball's chance in hell of any jury finding Elias innocent. And so his defense lawyers decided that...
Plead insanity?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They were going to plead insanity. So this was in the hopes to get an innocent verdict in the case of insanity at the time of the murders. So everyone knew that Elias, before the summer of 2010... they all said that he seemed like a caring, nice man. His uncle was shocked that he'd committed the crimes. Even one of his ex-mother-in-laws and like ex-wife were shocked. They were like, "Oh, but he's a nice guy." Like,
yeah, just a gentle giant.
Yes, even like he was very good at hiding it. When the ex-wife was like shocked.
Yeah.
And he had no history of violence. All Elias had was like a citation for selling alcohol to a minor, some minor offenses in Virginia, and the only jail time that he ever spent was just 1 month for lying on a handgun permit regarding some past fraud. So that's it.
Clean-ish record. All things considered.
The sniffles, sorry.
How dare you?
I know. So his defense team brought in psychiatrist Dr. Norman Miller to examine Elias for any mental health issues. Dr. Miller came to the conclusion that Elias was a paranoid schizophrenic.
I'm sure his time as a psych tech helped him conjure up the, traditional behaviors.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that.
Yeah, you'd have all the knowledge to quote unquote fake it. I mean, he could have also been like, no, you don't think so? You don't think you just...
Absolutely not.
Okay, good. Just saying.
He 100% lied about it.
Well, then he would have the knowledge to at least know how to present it.
Ed Kemper was like that.
Yeah.
He knew because he had all this time. Like, he even bragged about it, like how he's so smart and he figured this out. And he's like, it's easy to manipulate it if you know what to say and do. Because Ed Kemper killed his grandparents first, right?
I think so.
Yeah, Ed Kemper killed his grandparents first, and then that was when he spent, when he was like 10 or 12 or whatever, spent all that time in a psych ward, and so he learned what was the proper thing to say and do to make the psychiatrist be like, oh, this is exactly it.
The buzzwords.
Yes. So, according to Dr. Norman Miller, he said that Elias heard voices from demons telling him to stab and kill all those men. He was suffering, quote, bizarre delusions that evil forces directed him to harm others. And so Elias...
He was abducted by aliens.
Yes. 100%. We don't really have that many alien abductions in Michigan.
We need more.
Don't say that.
Those Great Lakes need to supercharge something,
Seriously.
Act like a big runway.
That's actually what all of the windmills are for. The wind turbines, they're actually calling in the motherships. Yeah.
That's how the aliens actually moved the glaciers. They dragged them through. That's how that worked.
I believe it.
Yeah.
That's our conspiracy theory that we're going to finally start.
Yes.
The glaciers were caused by aliens.
Yeah, they blew up the ice caps.
Where do you think they were hiding the UFOs?
Right.
In the ice caps.
Ask those crazy worms that they're finding in the ice caps or whatever.
Worms?
We'll talk about it later.
Oh, God. I hate worms. Did they crawl under your skin?
I don't know.
Oh, sorry. So anyway, according to Dr. Miller, Elias was insane and not criminally responsible for the death of Arnold Miner or anyone else for that matter. But witness testimony claimed that he was lucid during the acts and completely present, and there was no mentions or mumblings from Elias of evil spirits or demons or evil forces.
He was just grinning ear to ear.
Yes, we'll get to it.
Good.
So Miller also claims that Elias had mental instability dating back to 1997 when he attempted and failed to complete suicide by stabbing himself in the neck.
Okay, so there's your trauma. Good. Mm-hmm. Okay, good. I was wondering where, the stabbing thing all came from.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Also, if you try to complete suicide, that doesn't turn you into a murderer.
No, but I'm just trying to find the root cause of the stabbing infatuation. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He just couldn't do it himself, so he takes it on everybody else.
Yeah.
So the prosecution, in response, did two things. They immediately called into question Dr. Norman Miller's expertise, noting that Dr. Miller's field of expertise was alcohol and drug addiction, not abnormal psych evaluations.
Okay.
Yep.
So they brought in a good enough doctor, but not an actual expert?
Yes.
Cool.
And then they called in two expert psychiatrists themselves to examine Elias. Their expertise...
He's a sociopath.
Exactly.
Not a schizophrenic.
Exactly. Their experts testified that although Elias definitely has an unspecified personality disorder, he lacked empathy.
Yeah.
A psychopath.
Yeah.
His attacks were too planned out and organized for him to be considered legally insane.
Okay.
So, there was never any definitive motive. Police speculated that it may have been racially motivated or that it was just a crime of opportunity. The prosecuting attorney named David Layton.
That's hell. Sorry.
Isn't that purgatory? Oh no, purgatory is the step between hell.
Yeah. That's your trial forever.
Yeah. That's where like the unbaptized babies
Catholics,
go, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a Catholic thing.
So I had to read Dante's Inferno while my grandmother was dying, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
Good timing.
Never forget it.
It was rough.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no definite motive. Police speculate that it may have been racially motivated or just crimes of opportunity. So,
retail motivated.
Yep. Yes. So the prosecuting attorney, David Linton, said, quote, "We suspect that he was preying on vulnerable African-American men, cruising the areas of the city of Flint and the surrounding suburbs where he might find such individuals and try to take their lives or destroy them."
There could have been something in the water. Too soon? Sorry.
There really could have been.
I was waiting for you to bring that up at some point. It's like the lowest hanging of it's not even jokes. It's just the lowest hanging.
It's a joke.
No, it's not a joke. It's a horrible, horrible thing.
It is a horrible thing. And here's the thing. It's funny you say that because there are a lot of theories why there was a huge spike. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, it all lines up. It's just clicking. There's a theory that the reason why serial killers boomed in the 60s, 70s, and 80s is because back then, lead was unregulated. Not only was it in our water, it was on all of our shit, it was in all of our paint, it was cross-contaminated in the food we ate, it was in the air we breathed from unleaded gas. It was fucking everywhere. And so people literally went insane, and they really truly think that it's a contributing factor as to why there were so many serial killers. And the fact that this man was completely fucking normal until he went to Flint,
right,
and lived in Flint.
I was just drinking it right out of the tap.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It literally did not dawn on me. And I know you meant it as a joke, but in all seriousness,
why would it only affect him?
Because some people, it's like when you get those natural prepositions. Some people generally don't have empathy. It's really a thing. 1 out of 4 people they say are actual.
It just took...
have actually personality disorders that lack empathy. Just some people also know that murdering people are wrong. Mm-hmm. So it's when all it takes is one head wound.
Just highlighted a problem that was already part of who he was.
Yes.
Perhaps.
So that's, you meant it as a joke, but everything clicked and my eyes got real big and I was like, all right, let me nerd out real fast.
You're I need a whiteboard and 7 dry erase markers.
I am literally the embodiment of that Sonny from
meme.
Philadelphia. Yeah, the meme.
Yeah. Me explaining my conspiracy theories in a podcast. Yes.
It's in the water.
Yeah.
So the trial only lasted 8 days.
You said that?
Yep. So the jury stepped out from the courtroom on May 22nd 2012.
Happy birthday.
Yes, thank you. And was gone for a whopping 2 hours and 23 minutes. In reality, it took them only 1 hour to unanimously come back with a verdict of guilty. The rest of the time, they were just enjoying a quick break and some lunch courtesy of the state of Michigan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, someone got a food truck. We can make him sit and wait.
Why not?
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, and they only get paid like $30 a day or whatever, so they're like, why not?
Plus mileage.
I know, your dad told me today.
I know. He's been on jury duty like 8 times in my life.
How?
I don't know. No one else I know, like that I'm related to, has ever had it. Him, it's like every 2 years.
Gets better.
He's on federal jury duty in Detroit.
Yeah, that's what this one was supposed to be. It was so
he might. So he could have done this one.
So he went to court. Your dad just recently. Fun fact about your family because I talked to them today.
Yeah.
Your dad was supposed to be on jury duty for either like one was just a civil case and the other one was criminal court that was a murder.
Uh-huh.
And they got through their civil case and then they were like, we're gonna like
do the jury pool.
Yeah, the jury pool for the murder, except the murderer got COVID.
Okay.
So they put it on hold. Also, your mother told me that she got jury duty one time and she got excused because her cousin was in jail for murder.
My mom's cousin?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know which cousin this is.
Yeah, because I got really excited.
You were like, who was it?
No, I asked your dad if he knew the murderer. He was like, no. Like, okay.
She probably made it up. She watches a lot of soap operas. I don't know.
I just, like, when she told me that she goes, I got out of jury duty because my cousin was in jail. I was like, oh my God, that's all it takes? My uncles are in and out of jail constantly. And she goes, yeah, he was in jail for murder. I was like, what?
They're from Ohio. Don't trust them.
Absolutely.
Her whole family. It's backwoods Ohio. Not to be trusted.
Sorry. I don't know why I didn't ask further questions. You're talking about cancer and her brother and stuff. So I was like, let's not.
Hey, can we circle back real quick? Earlier, we talked about your murderous cousin. I need some more deets. Yeah.
So they found him guilty after their lunch break. And Elias was sentenced to life in prison without parole. He's also been charged after this trial because this was like the initial, let's just get this guy nailed for something. Mm-hmm. He was also charged with 5 other counts of attempted murder and 2 more counts of just plain old-fashioned murder in the state of Michigan. And then 1 charge of felonious assault on the last victim, who was named Tony Leno. That was the last victim in Ohio. Mm-hmm. He was a church janitor. So, yeah. And he did it outside of the church. So he's just driving through Ohio, saw this guy, and was like, he looks vulnerable.
He's cleaning trash up in front of the church. Let's stab him.
Yeah. And there's also like a lot of other dumb charges that like don't matter at this point, like resisting and obstructing and attempting to assault an officer, which is when he got hit in the face.
SUV.
Yeah. No, this is like in jail. The assaulting the officer and he got tased.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, what a shame. So before the sentence was officially handed down for the murder of Arnold Miner, Elzora Miner, Arnold's mother, was...
Elzora?
Elzora? Yeah. Elzora. Elzora?
That's a fun name.
Yeah. So she was at the trial holding Arnold's ashes in an urn while watching her son's murder trial.
Wait. I thought Elzora was... Okay, Elzora's Arnold's mother.
Arnold's mother.
I thought it was Elias's mother. I was like,
what kind
of weird twist are we taking?
Nope,
here?
not a single person from Elias's family came to watch the court at all. Okay. And his uncle testified against him.
Nice.
Yeah, they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so shocked. And then threw him right under the fucking bus.
They're like, get him away from me.
Yeah.
We are related, but not that related.
Yes. So she wound up collapsing right before the trial, or right before the verdict was handed out, and was carried out of the court. And Elzora said that when she looked up at Elias right before his sentencing, he had grinned at her.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Uh-huh. I told you I'd get to the grinning part.
Is that like when she passed out?
Yes, she was. Yeah, she like, yeah. I could not even imagine the trauma and like watching my son's murderer grin at me, right before he's found guilty.
That's
I wouldn't pass out, I would probably also go to jail
You
for
just
attempted
come over
murder.
the
yes.
the rail.
Look, I might be little.
Hold these ashes. I gotta go kill a fool.
Oh no, I would smack him right in the face with the ashes.
Yeah.
Just like, because urns are like, there's some strong heavy duty.
She opens the urn. It's not ashes. It's a knife, and she starts stabbing the fuck out of him.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do a callback about antiquing him with the ashes after throwing sheep's blood at him.
No. She just walks in with a metal urn. No one's gonna look inside of it.
You're right.
Like you could set that next to the metal detector and just open it and be like, knife, stabs.
Bye. Oh,
Yeah.
that would be poetic justice.
Right?
Sorry, you went poetic. I went dark.
Mine was probably a little both, but I'm
Yeah. Poetic outweighs it.
You're like, it's not dark, it's beautiful. And I'm gonna
You should
sleep
worry
on
about
the couch
yourself.
tonight. Yes. Lock you in the bedroom. Why are you putting that deadbolt on the outside? Don't worry about it. I'll unlock it in the morning.
I actually get locked in the attic.
Yes, yeah.
That's why there's a deadbolt on it, not because there's some weird killer living in it.
Potentially. Or birds. We
Or
don't
birds. So, along with his mother, Arnold's sister, Stephanie, was also there. She just had one thing to say to Elias, quote, "I'm just glad for this day and hope that he rots in hell for the pain he caused, for the pain this city went through."
In prosecuting eternity.
So, real quick before we finish, I just wanted to go over the names of the victims. So, we know their names and that they lived before the really tragic endings.
Okay.
Just to really bring it down a notch. Yeah. I'm not going to go over the surviving victims because they're probably sick of hearing it, and would like to be left alone. But you can find their names if you really desperately wanted to look for them. It actually is pretty easy to find. But I'm not going to mention them.
Yep.
So, the first was David Motley, who was only 31 years old. I tried to find an obit, but it was a struggle.
How many was there that he actually
I think
killed
there was
them?
five, six.
Okay.
Some of them, a couple of them, David Motley, and I think the next
counting.
one.
You just keep going.
They didn't get tried with those ones. I think they just were like, whatever, this is enough. He's never going to get out.
Yeah. Since we aren't a death penalty state.
Yep. So Emmanuel Abdul Muhammad, named 59, he was an Alabama native and went to Flint High School, and he was a football star.
Okay.
Darwin Marshall, 43, who served in the military for 4 years, and according to his mother, had the voice of an angel. Sounded sarcastic. Didn't mean for that to happen.
Right, yeah.
Sorry. Frank Kellybrew, 60. He served...
That's one of those stereotypes that white guys don't get.
the voices of angels?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely
That is
not.
100% yeah. Yeah.
They were like, he sounded like a tone-deaf country singer.
Yeah, they all do.
And there was Frank Kellybrew, who was 60. He served in the Marine Corps and loved going for walks, and he loved music. And then Arnold Miner, 49, whose death was the start of the end. And according to his sister, he was more than willing to help out anyone, even strangers. And so those are his victims.
The victims.
Yes. So I thought I'd honor that after talking about how much of a shitbag he was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
because at the end of the day, fuck that guy. And
Yeah.
it's more important to
mention them. Yes. I was really upset. I tried really hard to find David Motley's, but you had to go to ancestry.com and they're like, pay money, and I'm like, I can't, and
for what?
To try to find its obit, and I tried to find him at I tried to find him at Find a Grave in Michigan and all different sorts of stuff.
To the Flint newspaper.
Yeah, well, I found an MLive article that mentioned all the people that were murdered. Well, most of the people that were murdered in Flint that year, and two of the victims that were on that two of Elias's victims weren't on that list. So I couldn't find Arnold Miner actually, and I couldn't find David Motley. So I couldn't find any information for David Motley's. I don't know if they just tried to keep it quiet, but
Maybe.
yeah. Or I have to go to page 15 on Google to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
So I had to go over my sources real quick. So murderpedia.org.
Yep.
And there's an article from MLive, suspected serial stabber Elias Abulazam, doesn't matter what the fuck his last name was, beaten and battered.
Okay.
Yep. And then there were several articles from Detroit.cbslocal.com. Expert, Flint serial killer is schizophrenic. He's not. They're lying. Flint serial stabber sentenced to life in prison. I'm sorry. this guy was like in his like 30s or 40s when he went on a rampage. Schizophrenia shows up between the ages of 18 and 25. Sorry.
Yeah, it was just the headline. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's a Flint serial stabber sentenced to life in prison. Trial begins for man accused in 2010 Flint stabbing spree. Uncle helped suspected Flint serial stabber. Uncle testifies in Flint serial stabber trial.
You could have just read the titles. It pretty much sums it up.
Exactly. So trial begins for accused Flint serial stabber. Prosecutors win key ruling in Flint stabbing case. Judge orders third murder trial and serial stabbings. 4 more trials ordered in Flint stabbing spree. Murder, new assault charges, and serial stabbings. And that's all my... Dude, I went down...
If you took a drink every time she said stab, you are now blackout drunk. And thank you for listening to this whole thing.
Probably think we are funnier than what we are.
Yeah, that's true.
So that is another one of our Michigan serial killers.
How many Michigan serial killers are there?
I don't know. At least 2.
I went... Oh, this is a good chance to plug the Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
I did Ohio. Not serial killer. An Ohio, I don't know what you'd call that. Anyway, you should go listen to it. It's on Patreon. What? There's not a good way to say it without spoiling the whole thing.
I was so invested, and I remember saying I was so invested.
You don't even remember what it's about?
I don't remember what it's about.
And you're not even a patron.
Oh, no.
Just the worst.
Oh, just give me 2 words without spoiling it.
McAdams family.
Da-da-da-da. Oh, no, I would definitely call her a serial killer for sure.
Yeah.
Because
it was a good one.
Yeah, that
she
was a really
into
good
it.
one.
If you listen to it, you can tell she's into it. She just doesn't
Familial
remember.
side, that was insane.
Yep, it was a good one. So anyway, that's available on Patreon if you'd like, at all levels.
I'm sorry. Terrible brain. I don't know how I didn't kill a child. She's
okay.
alive still at 8.
If you asked me what was the topic last Tuesday, I'd be like, I don't know. Give me a clue. Because
witches.
We've now done 65 of these plus 7 or 8 bonus ones. So we're like over 70. I don't remember.
Yeah.
So anyway.
It's hard.
That's the only one this week. So savor this one. We did a Halloween mini one came out yesterday. You can listen to that if you want.
Yep.
And the Patreon one is out.
You get to learn about ridiculous Irish lore.
Oh, and the Halloween one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all. That's very pagan-y and pumpkin-y.
Yes.
So
my 2 favorite P words.
'Tis the season. Is it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. Pagans and pumpkins.
My 2 favorite P words. Don't argue that. All right, and we'll be back next Tuesday with something terrible, I'm sure.
Yep.
You already have it planned?
I have a list. I have a list all the way through the end of the year.
Oh, terrific.
Yep.
No
we can make
themed
it.
ones?
December. You gotta wait.
Okay. What's next? I was going to see if it was 11/11 next episode would come out, but it's
shit.
11/9.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's kind of a meh.
Yeah.
Maybe just come up with a special 11/11 episode. We'll just drop it on a Wednesday.
Okay.
That's a joke. You're like, don't put that pressure on me.
Also, I don't think there's really anything terrible about 11. You want to learn about angel numbers? Woo, they're so sad.
Woo. No, I'm just trying to make you write more. That's
please
what you
don't.
need. All right.
Please
Anyway,
don't.
thanks for listening.
Yes.
And
If you've made it this far,
hey, congrats.
we appreciate it.
Look at you go.
Yep.
And
Support the pod, the Patreon, # shameless plugging.
yes, tweet, retweet, share, like, whatever. I don't know.
Listen, tell your friends.
We're still waiting on that 10th YouTube follower. I'm not going to post another video till we get a 10th one.
Okay,
So.
I'm going to clean the oven really good, like the
What?
stove, so that we can do like the murders and meals kind of situation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you cleaning our oven? And what does that have to do with you two?
There's some stains around our favorite
That's true.
burner. It's
Yeah.
a little gross.
That's true. Our favorite, yeah. If you don't have a favorite burner, you're not in your 30s. So, all right.
Don't worry, you'll get there.
Right? Oh, and then if you start using your air fryer and you forget you have a microwave, then you've really peaked.
Yeah.
You think you can heat coffee up in an air fryer? Because that's
Absolutely
that's
not.
the only thing we use ours for. All right. Thanks for listening.
And when we have a picture of an exploded coffee cup inside of an air fryer, you know what happened.
Yeah, and it'd probably still be delicious. All right. Goodbye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to our terrible podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at TMSTPod.
And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us on Patreon at Tell Me Something Terrible.
Oof, that was terrible.